All right, folks, we are hanging in Toronto today with the beautifully and talented, let me do that again, beautifully and talented Meghan Patrick. Meg, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
We've hung out a few times. Grace and Grit was over a year ago. We're here talking about something new.
Yeah.
Want to give us the title of the new album?
Country music made me do it.
Yeah, and I had a chance to listen to it personally.
Yeah.
Man, it's so, I want to say different than the last album,
Okay.
but it's got so much more story to it. Maybe walk us through how the process of putting this one together was different for you than it was the last time around.
I mean, I wouldn't say that the process was really that different from the last album. I mean, the only thing that would be different, I guess, is just that I've grown as an artist and as a songwriter. You know, I was writing about different experiences this time around. And I think because it wasn't my first album anymore, I was able to be a little bit more raw and personal, and I felt a little bit more comfortable being more open with my fans and stuff, you know, after having been through the first record and getting such a great response to those songs, and especially to some of the more personal songs. You know, I felt like I was in a position where I could kind of open up even more to them. And then another big difference for me, I think, with this record was, you know, the last record I had the amazing opportunity to work with a bunch of great producers. This record, we just did one producer with Jeremy Stover. And that was something that I really was adamant about that I wanted to do on this record. You know, and not because it wasn't a great experience for me last time. It was an incredible experience. But I really felt strongly that, you know, the first record was kind of let's try a few different things and see what resonates with the fans and what people really like. Let's try some different producers, some different kind of songs, you know, that kind of thing. And I think, you know, after seeing the responses to the different songs and everything from the first record, we were able to kind of like hone in on what the sound was going to be and what they responded to. And I just really wanted this record to be coherent and consistent, and I felt like having one producer was really important for that.
Well, it definitely comes across through the album, you know, from start to finish. The way that it kicks off with the title track. There were a few songs that really stuck out. One of them being Walls Come Down, and the other one was Small Town.
Oh, yeah?
Can I ask who you wrote those songs with? I know.
I thought you were going to say who you wrote them about.
No.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, not going in that direction.
Yeah, so Walls Come Down, I wrote that song with Kelly Archer and Justin Weaver, who, if you look at the songwriting credits, you'll see I wrote quite a few of the songs on this record, specifically with Kelly, as well as with Justin. Kelly was a huge part of this project. Jeremy Stover, my producer, was the one that introduced me to her and set up a write with her. And I mean, she is just crazy talented. She's had a big year too, as well as a songwriter. And this is one of the, you know, this is a really great connection with a female writer for me. Because, you know, a lot of the people I've written with have been mostly male. You know, when I look at the last record, I mean, Patricia Conroy really was the only female collaboration. You know, and that wasn't on purpose or for any particular reason. It's just kind of the way it went. But, yeah, so that's who I wrote Walls Come Down with. And then Small Town, I wrote that with Jason Massey and April Jesbray. And, yeah, it was kind of, that song particularly was an interesting one. You know, when we wrote Walls Come Down, it was one of those songs where I came out of the room and knew right away. I was like, wow, this song is going to be big. And it was heavy. It's one of the most raw and real and heavy songs I've written, you know, but it's like, we just drew from, you know, from our own personal experiences and from people we were close to, you know, their experiences. And I've always said that I want to be real. And that's been kind of my promise to my fans. And I mean, I think that's about as real as it gets. And I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. You know, nobody's family is perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. You know, we all have struggles and we all have issues in life. So I think that's, you know, a lot of people are going to listen to that and be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Wow, she's saying it. Because, I've been through that, or I have a friend who's been through that. You know, we all have kind of thing. And same with Small Town. You know, if you grew up in a small town, going through a breakup is like you don't get to just go through it by yourself.
The whole town comes along.
Yeah, apparently everybody thinks it's their business all of a sudden, which is interesting. But it's just kind of that feeling like, you start to feel suffocated by it, and everybody's talking about it, and nobody knows what really went down except for you and that person.
Sure.
And yet they feel, qualified and like justified to comment on the situation. But
the lyrics, though, that one tells a story, and I think, like you said, that's probably the song that I related to the most on the album.
Small Town.
Yeah. Whether it be girl or guy, I think it's multi, crosses over. And I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. You go through those feelings and those hardships. Was there a point when you were putting the album together? I know it's always best song wins, but when you were the songs that maybe didn't make the album, was there a reason why you thought they fit a better project later on down the road, or maybe it just you were at a limit that you could only have so many songs?
Well, definitely that we were at a limit. I mean, if they would have let me put out like a 24 song record, I totally would have. And maybe when I'm Miranda Lambert on my like fifth or sixth record, I'll do the double album. No, but you know what? There's a lot of factors that go into why you choose certain songs. For me, one of the things personally, and this may not be something that was maybe as important to the label or maybe even other artists, but I really wanted have a record where people can listen from top to bottom and have it flow and tell a story and have waves and up and down and kind of take them on on a journey. And the reality is when you're going through stuff in your life, you're going to write more than one song about it. So also it's kind of like, okay, well, we've got a few songs that are sort of on this topic or in this kind of vein or that sort of vibe or whatever. We need to pick the best one out of that bunch, or we've got quite a few ballads or quite a few of this up-tempo kind of feel or whatever. And it's just about finding sort of the best representation of each story and each feel and just kind of putting it together in a way is like, and are these going to fit together? Do these feel like coherent and consistent and everything? So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's probably one of the toughest parts of putting an album together is picking the songs. I mean, other than being in the studio and trying to make it perfect, which I'm never satisfied, but,
All right, so with the release of an album, usually you go on tour. And you are going on tour.
Yes.
Let's talk a bit about that coast-to-coast tour with the James Barker Band. What's it feel like to know that you're going out and going to be able to put this new music out, finally, for you?
There's a lot of things I'm excited about for this tour. One, we're actually going proper East Coast, which is a lot of the times you don't get to go all the way out to, Halifax and New Brunswick and stuff. So I'm really excited about that because I love the East Coast. Two, this is kind of my first, and for James Barker Band too, this is our first sort of co-headline tour, which is really cool. And I love James Barker Band and JoJo Mason. They're some of my favorite guys in this industry, and I think it's just going to be a great fit. I think our audiences are really similar, and I think it's just going to be a really perfect mix of sounds and energy, and they're great. They're both great performers. I'm a really high energy performer. I just think it's going to be a really great show for our fans. And I'm just really excited to finally play this new music because I know that nobody's even heard it yet, but I've had these songs forever and I've been like bugging the label, like, when can I play it? When can I play it? Yeah. So I'm really excited to move on to some new stuff, and I hope my fans are going to like it as much as I do. Well,
we were down in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and you played the Tin Roof. Mm-hmm. You played a new song there. Mm-hmm. It blew me away. I love that acoustic feel. You know that about me. Is there something in your set that you strip it down to get to that point, or is it tough to do that in a live setting in a big group like that?
I mean, this set, it'll be a full band thing for the full set. I mean, there are definitely some songs that are going to be more down tempo and a bit more stripped down. In the set time that I have, it's a little difficult to take that time to really fully do a stripped down thing. When I get to a point when I'm playing for an hour and a half or 2 hours, then you have that time, to kind of say, okay, you know what? You guys take a break. I'm just going to play a couple songs with my guitar or whatever. And that's something that, will be really cool to be able to do. But in a shorter set, you want to keep it pretty high energy, keep everything moving and do that. So.
Right on. Well, thanks so much for doing this. I want to mention one other thing. your face is blasted on the side of a bus in London, Ontario. Thanks to the folks over at Country 104.
Yep, love it.
Just so happens to be our Bill Woodcock's picture that just so happens to be there. Thanks for letting us do that.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It's a great shot. He's done some of my favorite live shots of me, and I'm very picky about live shots because I am so high energy. Like, I make weird faces and do weird things sometimes. So he has a knack for catching me in the more flattering versions of that while still being high energy.
Awesome. Meghan Patrick, folks. Country Music Made Me Do It is the new album out in January. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And make sure, head over to Spotify, listen to the single now, iTunes, pre-order it. And remember, if you don't listen to good music, we don't like you. Thanks.